Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. All together, one more time. Hold on. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bol bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome devotees to our morning Bhagavatam class. This morning we will be discussing Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 1, Chapter 10, verses 18 and 19. And the chapter is entitled The Departure of Lord Krishna to Dwarka. And we will start with the invocation prayers. Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Prajajana Ranjana Yamunatiraha Vanachari Yamunatiraha Vanachari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Jayom Vishnupad Paramhamsa Paragvacharya Stotra Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayom Vishnupad Paramhamsa Paragvacharya Stotra Shri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nama Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Shri Mayapura Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Tirtha Swamiti Namani. Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Shidadmane Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Namani. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namani. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chevam Narottamam Devam Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Nashta Prayeshta Bhadreshu Nitya Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Tamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So we'll be chanting from 2 verses today, verse 18 and 19. I will chant the Sanskrit on both the verse. I'll chant the first verse and I will ask devotees to repeat after me, and we'll go to the second verse. Udavasyatyakischaiva vyachane paramatpute vikiryamana kushumai reje madhupati pathi udhavasyat satyakhischaiva vyajane paramadbhute vikiryamanaha kushumai reje madhupati pathi udhava satyakhischaiva vyajane paramadbhute vikiryamanaha kusumai reje madhupati pathi.
Udava satyakhischaiva vyajane paramadbhute vikiryamanaha kusumai reje madhupatihi pati.
Thank you, Mother.
Udava satyakhischaiva vyajane paramabhute vikiryamana kusumai reje madhupati pati.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to try? Okay, well, I'll go with the word-for-word translation. Udava, a cousin brother of Krishna's. Satyaki, his driver. Cha, end. Eva, certainly. Vyajane, engaged in fanning. Paramadbhute, decorative. Vikiryamane, seated on scattered. Kushamai, flowers all around. Reje, commanded. Madhupati, the master of Madhu, Krishna. Pati, on the road. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Uddhava and Satyaki began to fan the Lord with decorated fans, and the Lord, as the master of Madhu, seated on scattered flowers, commanded them along the road. Verse 19. Asruyanta shisha satyas tatra tatra dvijeritaha nanurupascha nirgunasya gunatmanam. Asruyanta shisha satyas tatra tatra dvijerita nanurupascha nirgunasya gunatmana. Asruyanta shisha satyas tatra tatra dvijerita nanurupascha nirgunasya gunatmana. If devotees would like to chant, they can chant.
Ashruyanta shisha satya tatra dvijerita nanurupascha nirgunasya gunatmanaha.
Ashriyanta Shisha Satya Statra Tatra Jiderita Nanurupa Nurupascha Nirguna Sagunatmana.
Thank you. Anyone else?
अश्रूयन्ताशिष सत्यास्तत्र त्वितेरितः नानूरूपानिरूपाश्च निर्गुणस्य गुणात्मनः. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Anyone else?
अश्रूयन्ताशिषः सत्यास् तत्र तत्र द्विजेरितः नानुरूपानुरूपाश्च निर्गुणस्य गुणात्मनः.
Thank you. Okay, we will go for the word-for-word translation. Ashruyanta, being heard. Ashisha, benediction. Satya, all truths. Tatra, here. Tatra, there. Dvijatrita, sounded by learned brahmanas. Na, not. Anurupa, befitting. Anurupa, fitting. Cha, also. Nirgunasya, of the absolute. Guna Atmana, playing the role of a human being. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. It was being heard here and there that the benedictions being paid to Krishna were neither befitting nor unbefitting, because they were all for the Absolute, who was now playing the part of a human being. Purport. At places, there were sounds of Vedic benediction aiming at the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. The benedictions were fitting in the sense that the Lord was playing the part of a human being, as if a cousin of Maharaj Yudhishthira. But they were also unfitting because the Lord is absolute and has nothing to do with any kind of material relativities. He is Nirguna, or there are no material qualities in him, but he's full of transcendental qualities. In the transcendental world, there is nothing contradictory, whereas in the relative world, everything has its opposite. In the relative world, white is the opposite conception of black. But in the transcendental world, there is no distinction between white and black. Therefore, the sounds of benedictions uttered by the learned brahmanas here and there appear to be contradictory in relation with the absolute person. But when they are applied to the absolute person, they lose all contradiction and become transcendental. One example may clear this idea. Lord Sri Krishna is sometimes described as a thief. He is very famous among his pure devotees as the Makanchor. He used to steal butter from the houses of neighbors at Vrindavan in his early age. Since then, he is famous as a thief. But in spite of his being famous as a thief, he is worshipped as a thief. Whereas in the mundane world, a thief is never punished and is never praised. Since he's the absolute personality of Godhead, everything is applicable to him. And still, in spite of all contradictions, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Om Maganayati Mirandyasya Gyana Gyana Shalakaya Chakshur Onmalitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Shadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the translation again. It was being heard here and there that the benedictions being paid to Krishna were neither befitting nor unbefitting, because they were all for the Absolute, who was now playing the part of a human being. So between these two verses, as I was preparing for the class, in verse 18, it was clearly demonstrated by Uddhava and Sataki that we give the best to the Lord. They were fanning the Lord with decorative fans, scattering flowers. This is a very important point. What realization I got from the verse 18, how important it is for us to give the best to the Lord. And when we give the best to the Lord, we give new. When we love our dear ones, we don't give them second-hand stuff. We don't give them second-hand gifts, second-hand clothes, second-hand whatever, right? We give them new. Because why? We show them our love. It doesn't have to be the most expensive thing, but new. Even if it's $2, but it's new. Because the why is because Krishna owns everything. Krishna is all opulent. Krishna is all attractive. Everything comes from the Lord. Everything stems from the Lord. He is the original source of anything and everything. Therefore, he can take away anything and everything as he pleases. What we are attached to today, he will take away tomorrow. How long is the attachment? Right? If we have a $10 bill in our wallet today, within a few days it'll be gone. We'll have to use it, whether it's to buy gas, whether it's to get something from the grocery store, it'll be gone. It doesn't stay in our wallets, in our purse forever. Anything we put in our bags, it's gone. So it clearly shows that $10 that we get, it's with us in our purse for a short period of time. So we feel some sense of ownership, some sense of control. But in a few days, that $10 is gone. It goes to some other source. But the original source of everything is the Lord. So it's very important that we understand how important it is to give the best. Not only the best, but the new, because the new is always the best. And not only the new and the best, we give the finest. If we want to make an outfit for the Lord, we will take the time to go to the store, get the fabric, match make it, get the trim. Everything is new for the Lord. When we want to buy something for the temple, new for the Lord. Sometimes it concerns me when people don't want to use something in their house and they give it to the Lord. Yeah, use it for the temple. Krishna is not second-hand. Krishna's temple is not a consignment store. Krishna's temple is not a thrift store. Krishna's temple is the finest of the finest, where we find the best of the knowledge. And the best of the knowledge and the highest of the knowledge is always the finest of the knowledge. So everything that we give to the Lord has to be new. And it's not like, oh, I don't need this machine anymore, so I'll just give it to the temple. They can make some use to it. Or I don't need this piece of furniture because I'm buying new furniture for my house. And I've heard that before, actually. And it's really sad. I'm buying new furniture for my house, so I don't need this old furniture. I'll give it to the temple. Come on. Krishna's temple is not a dharamshala. It's not a house of orphanage. It's not a house of, where we just dump second-hand stuff, used stuff. But the interesting part is that we want to get new stuff for our house, but we give the old stuff to Krishna, not understanding that the new stuff, the source of the new stuff is from the Lord. So we should definitely help our minds and others to understand we should never ever think of giving used or secondhand or anything like that to the Lord. when we are bringing new to the temple. And I've had people come to me and I nicely tell them, no, thank you. And it might be something that we need. It may be something that we need, but I will always say no. And if they ask me why, I say the Lord needs new, not old. Because the Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So here, Uddhava and Satyaki are fanning the Lord with decorative items, scattering flowers. And the flowers are not old, nor are they used, they are new. We cannot get used flowers. Used flowers don't exist. That concept doesn't exist, you know. So it's very important that we understand that the Lord is all opulent, all attractive, and He's the proprietor of everything. He's the source of everything. That was the realization that I got when I was reading verse 18, how important it is that we give the best. If we are buying new for our house, let's do the same for the Lord, or even better. You know, very, very important. The second verse, verse 19, is a pretty powerful verse. And the key word that stood out for me in this verse is Nirguna. The Lord is Nirguna. And Srila Prabhupada has given many definitions, many explanation, I should say, not so much definition, many explanation to the word Nirguna. And I would like to share the few from Srila Prabhupada, directly from Srila Prabhupada, where Srila Prabhupada says the Lord is Nirguna. That means the Lord is without reaction. Nothing, the Lord is not affected by anything because he is not karma bound. Krishna is not karma bound. We are karma bound. Krishna doesn't go through the cause and reaction platform. It's us. Because why? He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and He's the origin of all qualities. Srila Prabhupada explains that Nirguna also means qualities beyond estimation. And we've also heard from many lectures of Srila Prabhupada, where Srila Prabhupada has said that Krishna himself doesn't know how great he is. So if the Lord himself don't know how great he is, what to speak of our fallen conditioned minds? What to speak of our so-called intelligent minds? What to speak of our intellectual knowledge? What to speak of our academic knowledge? What to speak of our brain? That how much can it hold? The Lord himself doesn't know how great he is. Then how can we ever understand how great the Lord is? So the Lord is beyond our estimation, Nirguna, Srila Prabhupada says. But Srila Prabhupada also says that the impersonalists interpret this word Nirguna as having no quality. They switched it up with their limited understanding. That they interpret the word Nirguna as having no quality. And why is that so? Because Srila Prabhupada says that they are unable to estimate the qualities of the Lord. Of course, because the Lord is beyond estimation. And because the Lord is beyond estimation, He is Nirguna. But that does not mean He has no qualities. His qualities are beyond our estimation. But the poor impersonalists, because they cannot estimate that, therefore they conclude, okay, he has no qualities. No. The Lord is not, the Lord, in order to understand the Supreme Lord, it's transcendental realization. The real position of the Lord is that He's the original source of everything, everything, including qualities. So Krishna is not within the material qualities. He's not within the three material gunas. He's not within the three modes of material nature, passion, ignorance, and goodness. He's not within that because he's transcendental. He's transcendental because his qualities are beyond estimation. And because his qualities are beyond estimation, and because Krishna's qualities are not within the material qualities, because the Lord's qualities are not bounded by the three modes of material nature, therefore he is without reaction. Everything he does is transcendental. Everything he does is transcendental. So Srila Prabhupada says, if one directly follows the instructions of the Supreme Lord, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, then one gradually becomes Nirguna. Look at that mercy that we have gotten from Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada says, if a person directly follows the instructions of the Supreme Lord, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, then one gradually becomes Nirguna, or above the interactions of the material qualities. But Srila Prabhupada also says, to be Nirguna means to be bereft of material opulences. So we have to be ready. We have to ask ourselves, okay, that platform, that level, that position, that title Nirguna sounds wonderful. You know, I can be this kind of devotee, I can be that kind of devotee, I can be this pakka person, you know, and this and that. But there's a catch-22 to that. And that is, but if we want to be Nirguna, if a devotee wants to be Nirguna, then he has to be ready to be bereft from material opulences. And why is that so? Because when material opulences increases, the reaction of the material qualities in this world increases. The more we are attached to material opulences, the more the reaction goes up. Very much related. So that shows why one can ask ourselves, you know, why am I getting beaten up in this material world, as they say? Why am I getting reactions from the three modes of material nature? Because our material attachments are increasing. So if we decrease our material attachment and opulences, then our reaction to the material energy decreases. It doesn't bother us. Okay, this is happening, whatever. I don't care. It doesn't bother us. If that is happening, okay, fine, I don't care. It doesn't bother us, right? We have to get to the stage where the material opulence and the attachments and the bombardments and the attractions and all that does not affect us. And when it doesn't affect us, simultaneously, whatever is happening in the material energy, it doesn't bother us. And by worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Srila Prabhupada says, instead of being puffed up with material opulences, one becomes enriched with spiritual advancement of knowledge in Krishna consciousness. So when we become so puffed up in material opulences, we are for sure definitely going to be caught up in the reactions of the material energy. As they say, we'll be beaten up. But instead of being puffed up, I have this, I know this knowledge, I know that knowledge, I got this, I got that. When we get so attached to all the material opulence and attractions and, bombardments and what have you, then it's very hard to grow spiritually. Because your Prabhupada says, instead of being puffed up with material opulence, we become enriched in spiritual advancement of knowledge in Krishna consciousness. Because why? Because to become Nirguna means to achieve eternal peace, fearlessness, knowledge, and renunciation, Srila Prabhupada says. So when we are enriched in Krishna, in our spiritual advancement in Krishna consciousness, our attraction for material opulences and bombardment and attraction, everything goes down. Because when it goes down, that means we don't find any desire in this material opulence and attractions and what have you. We don't find any interest, any desire, any attraction. So when that goes down, spiritual advancement goes up. And when spiritual advancement goes up, then we really begin to understand the taste of what it means to find eternal peace, what it means to be fearless, what it means to be a renunciate and not be attached to all this. And that's when we have become Nirguna. That's when we have become Nirguna. And how is that possible? And then one might ask, okay, but I am caught up in this three modes of material nature. And I want to get out of this attachment. I want to get out of this material opulence. I really want to get out of this material attractions. I don't want to be so much caught up in this material energy. How do I get out of this? So that this three modes of material nature, even if it beats me up, I'm not affected. As it's like we are in the material energy, but we are not of it, right? We will be in it, we will get beaten up by it, but we're not affected by it. Srila Prabhupada says, in order to rise above the three modes of material nature, one must be engaged in devotional service. It is really amazing how everything, at least for me, for my realization, every verse that we have discussed so far and studied together, it boils down to devotional service, chanting of the holy name, hearing sadhu sangha. It's so amazing. And every single verse, we get reminded about that. In a lecture by Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan, September 10, 1976, Srila Prabhupada said that we are in this material world. Material world means three modes of material nature. Mode of passion, mode of ignorance, mode of goodness. And we are all affected by these three modes. As long as we're in this material world, we will be affected by these three modes. So if we want to get released from these three modes of material nature, we have to come to the platform of Nirguna. Now, the next question is, how do we get to the platform of Nirguna? Srila Prabhupada says, Nirguna means to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And as we have heard earlier, Srila Prabhupada says, in this age of Kali Yuga, to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is like exactly what we're doing right now. We are associating with the Lord by learning and reading and studying the scriptures together. We are hearing together. We are discussing together. We are reading together. in sadhu sangha. And he, Srila Prabhupada says, to also engage in devotional service. And why is that so? Because when one is engaged in devotional service, we are cleaning our hearts. We are cleaning our hearts. A devotee of Krishna, Srila Prabhupada says, when he is in service of the Lord, he is in Nirguna. The material qualities cannot touch him. He immediately becomes transcendental to all the material qualities. But that does not mean I cannot act in the material quality. Srila Prabhupada uses like Krishna, right? This very example here. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in Mathura and in Dwarka, he was a prince, a king. He was born of a king in a royal family. He has nothing to do with the opulence. He's not affected by it, but he functioned in that position. Krishna was not affected of it. Srila Prabhupada shared a very nice Bengali proverb that he translated in English that really was very powerful. I wanted to share with the devotees here. Srila Prabhupada says, there is a Bengali proverb that goes like this. He said, you go to catch the fish, but don't touch the water. If you are clever, you have that rod to catch the fish. You take out the fish, but you don't touch the water. That is devotional service. So Nirguna stage means when we engage in devotional service, we are rendering service. We are cleaning our hearts. See, we are by nature, we are servitors by nature. We are rendering some kind of service, right? We are rendering service in the office, to our boss, to our co-workers, to our family, to our animals, to our government, to the society. We're doing some service. We're giving some service. There's no escape. Srila Prabhupada says that kind of service is called Saguna service. Saguna service is under the material laws. Nirguna service is above the material laws. So when we give Nirguna service, we are engaging in devotional service above the material laws. It is service for the Lord. Then the next question that we all want to know, I know I wanted to know, is, wow, Krishna has promised us the level of Nirguna, but how do I get there? How do I develop that understanding of developing Nirguna stage? Srila Prabhupada says, always engage in devotional service and associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead by following the instructions given to us by our bona fide spiritual master, given to us that is written in Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. He said, it's not that difficult. Whenever Srila Prabhupada says, it's not that difficult, or when he says, what is the difficulty? I know for me, I feel like, duh, Anasuya, how dumb can you be? What is so difficult, right? And whenever, when someone else says that, then our mind goes, it is difficult. What are you talking about? But when Srila Prabhupada says, it is not difficult, what is the difficulty? Then you feel like, yeah, what is the difficulty? It is not difficult because Srila Prabhupada knows how to say it so nicely that we don't see the difficulty. So Srila Prabhupada says, always engaging in devotional service. We can become Nirguna as soon as we engage in the service of the Lord. And we remain in Nirguna, meaning We remain in Krishna consciousness. We continue our chanting. Cheto Darpana Marjanam. We continue our chanting by cleaning our hearts. We continue associating the Lord with the Lord by learning, by Shravanam, hearing. That's what we're doing now, by discussing, by studying the Shastra together, by approaching a bona fide spiritual master and taking instructions. All these are the methods of how we can develop to get to the Nirguna stage. And the more we stay and remain in Krishna consciousness, the more we continue our chanting, the more we are always cleaning our hearts, the more we increase our Shravanam, our hearing, the more we associate with the Lord by reading and studying the scriptures, and the more we come together in Sadhu Sangha, any opportunity we get to come together into Sadhu Sangha and to hear and discuss and read about the glories of the Lord and associate with the devotees and to speak of the great acharyas, the more we stay in that mood, the more we will lose taste for all these material opulences, for all the material attractions, the bombardments, the attachment, they will slowly dwindle away. So much so that even when something happens in the material energy, it won't bother us. We're like, whatever. Okay, it happened. Okay, whatever. And even if it bothers us for a minute or two, within a few hours, we can just get over it. We can get over it. Like I know on Wednesday was a very difficult day for me in the office at work. It was so difficult. Was it not a good, was it Wednesday? Yeah, no. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, sometime this week. It was such a difficult time I had my work. And I lost it. I was so upset. I was so disturbed. I felt like I was pushed against the wall, from all corners, like 360 degree. And after a few hours, I had to step away. And I said, I got to get away from this nonsense. And I stepped away and I went downstairs, chanted my Gayatri, and just chanted around, and I came back and I said, thank you, Krishna, for helping me to check myself to not get affected. And after that, whatever happened, I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to do what I got to do, and that's it. Don't beat me, whatever. We just got to stay with the process. We just got to stay with the process. Srila Prabhupada so nicely promised us, we got to stay in the transcendental boat. Yes, the boat is on the ocean. There will be low tides and there will be high tides. He says, when the high tide comes, just make sure that you're holding on to both ends of the boat and don't get out of the boat, no matter how high tide it is, but stay in the transcendental boat and you will come to the calm shore. And that's the material energy. We just got to stay in the transcendental boat and hang on to both ends of the boat, because there are many of us in that boat that are hanging on, right? If we see the boat, there are so many passengers. And when there's high tide, we hang on to those railings, right? That's the transcendental boat. We just hang on to it. And when we don't let it go, we look at each other and say, help me, get me, and we stay in the process. That's your process. We just got to stay in the transcendental boat. We stay with the process. We stay in Krishna consciousness. We continue our chanting. Cheto Darapana Marjanam. Continue cleaning the hearts. Engage in devotional service, because devotional service is not other than Krishna's personification. and we continue to increase our hearing, continue to increase our devotional service, continue to associate with devotees, coming together, and we will get to the Nirguna stage. A powerful promise by Baba Ishwar Prabhupada. He says, we just got to do that. He said, you just got to remain in that stage and you'll get there. What a powerful promise we got from our founder Acharya. So this was my realization of how grateful I am and thankful that Srila Prabhupada has given us this wonderful Krishna consciousness, the science of Krishna consciousness. How beautiful it is that it can get us out of this material energy. We just got to stay with the process. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my thoughts and realizations with you. If there are any questions, any clarifications, any comments, please do ask. Yes, Mother Gita. Hare Krishna, Mother.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble
Please accept
obeisance
mine.
to Prabhupada.
Jai Shri
Thank you so
Prabhupada.
much. You've given us a lot of food for thought. Thank you. So you were talking about, and we've heard many times, that it is very difficult to understand Krishna. So in that case, what is the source of motivation to still try to know him? Thank you.
So that's such a nice question, Mother. Yes, so sometimes I ask myself that, and I remember listening to that part of the lecture by Srila Prabhupada. I'm asking, okay, then if it's so hard to understand Krishna, then what's the motivation? That what is coming to my mind is spiritual master. Having faith in the Guru's words, having faith that he said, the Lord is Satchitananda Vigraha. He's there. You just keep on serving and he will reveal himself to you. You just keep on serving. I know for me, in my early days of Pujari service in Gitanagari, I used to one devotee one time told me, and I first started being the Pujari for Gonitai in Gitanagari. And she would always tell me, you just pray to Gonitai and they will always be there because they're very, very merciful. I'll say, okay, but how will I know the mercy is coming? Because I can't see it or feel it. She says, you just keep at it. You just keep on, and it will manifest. I said, okay. And I just did that. Of course, what do I know? I'm such a fallen conditioned soul. I can't even see mercy, let alone feel it. And then the service went up to dressing. Then I became a pujari for Radha Damodar. And again, I said to her, I said, Mother, you told me to pray to God for mercy, but where's the mercy? She goes, Anasuya, you got the mercy to dress Radha Damodar. You don't see it? I said, oh, yeah. She says, it's not easy to dress Radha Damodar. Not everybody gets that mercy because Radha Damodar is very intense. I said, yes, Mother, especially Radharani, she always beats me up every morning. She goes, that's the mercy because she's making you humble. So I said, okay. So she said, you just keep on serving and you will see that the more you serve, the more you're going to get purified. And the more you get purified, the more you will see how all the other things that you were once attached to, you're not attached to, but you'll be more attached to the service. That should be the mood. And she says, you just keep on serving and you believe in a spiritual master. And then I remember her telling me this, and she says to me, actually her name is Mother Indulekha, a very senior disciple of Satsrup Maharaj. She's now in Boston. And one time she told me, she says, Anasuya, you believe in your spiritual master, right? I said, of course, Mother. He says, then why are you doubting him? I said, Mother, I don't doubt him. She goes, you just trust your spiritual master and he will open the doorway for you. And he will give you the medicine to be motivated. You just keep on serving because you need the enthusiasm. And When you see other devotees enthused, that's your motivation. And when you get enthused, you get motivated. When you get motivated, the Lord is happy. So that's what she helped me to understand, Mother. And that's what's coming to my mind. I hope that helped.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for reminding me the verse from Bhagavad Gita 4.34, that the self-realized soul will impart knowledge unto you because he's seen the truth. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Mother. Thank you for asking the question to remind me that I should always believe in my spiritual master, in his words, because he has seen and he knows, he has seen the truth and he knows. So you are also helping me to remind myself, Mother, to remember my spiritual masters and to believe in him because he has seen the truth, and to always remain enthused and motivated so that the Lord is always enthused and the Lord is always giving me the mercy for motivation. Thank you so much, Mother.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Peace of humble obeisances to the devotees. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, one of my takeaways in this, when you were talking about devotees giving gifts to the temples, and the quality showed the mentality of the devotees giving those gifts. The Lord is the Supreme Personality. So Supreme Personality means if you're going to give somebody who is supreme a gift, it should be the best gift. Yet, some people may, who are new to Krishna consciousness, or maybe third generation or whatever, may not have heard of this before. But actually, this was going on where some people give something to the temple because they've used it, it's old, and they don't want it anymore in their house. Or they're going to buy something for the Lord, but they buy something of poor quality and they give that as a gift. Now, in one sense, it's like I'm criticizing them, but actually, it is the indication of where their minds are at. And that's why when we hear more and more and more, then we improve our understanding of this whole process of bhakti. And then when we give from our hearts, then we would give better things. It also is an indication that the person that doesn't give something of good quality has not really learned yet that the aim of devotional service or the aim of being a devotee is Krishna Prema, to learn to love Krishna. When we love someone, even in our material life, when we love someone, we want to give them a gift. If we really love them, we won't give them something cheap. We will give them something, first of all, that they would appreciate, something that they like, they're most likely going to like very much, but you also give a good quality. And so, yeah, we were, this was a debate that went on quite a bit, in ISKCON, people giving poor quality stuff. But I've also seen that people who have donated poor quality things, after a while, their devotion gets affected also in a negative way, unfortunately. So we have to be very careful. So when you brought it up, I was very happy to hear that, because I knew you were going to comment on it. And so bottom line, don't give anything cheap to Krishna. Just don't do it. Because then he's not supreme to you then if you're going to give something cheap to him. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for sharing that. I remember a pastime with my spiritual master, and it had to do with the new temple in Kirtanagar. This was back in 2000, before Karthik, and we were shopping for stuff. And my spiritual master, really liked getting new things for the temple at that time. And we were doing shopping for some stuff, and one devotee wanted to give something new, something used, and he was so upset. He says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all opulent, owns everything, and you want to give him a second thing, and he says, you go find something that's $1,000. I don't care how much it is. Just get me. He even He says, I don't want anything cheap for the Lord. And he says, Damodar is not cheap. And he's 5 years old too. So what you expect? And he was so demanding. And yeah, and finally, whatever he said, we got everything new. He didn't allow anything. He even came and did a spot check to actually see, if they were new stuff. I remember that. He was very, very adamant that everything in that temple, before we opened it in 2000, everything was brand new. Everything was brand new. Nothing was hand-me-downs. So yeah, very important that we understand that. Any other comments from devotees, a takeaway from this wonderful verse by Srila Prabhupada? Any, thoughts that you would like to share? Any clarification? Please do we would love to hear from all of you, actually. Any one of you would like to say something. Just as you're thinking, just a quick reminder that we have our Bhagavad Gita circle tonight at 6 o'clock. We are continuing into a very nice chapter, chapter 5, Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. Really, really nice topic, coming up with all kinds of really nice discussion. So please do join us this evening at 6 o'clock. And this weekend, we have a wonderful, blissful weekend with beautiful opportunities for us to Shravanam, to hear and chant. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. This whole weekend is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. We have our 8-hour kirtan starting tomorrow. And we have our regular Sunday program with a wonderful lecture on compassion, faith, and chanting. Again, a beautiful summation of Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So we encourage devotees to please block out your whole weekend to please attend the kirtan tomorrow. We have a lot of devotees coming from out of town and proper disciples coming. And we have a wonderful program on Sunday. So please do join us. Let's have, as they say, a jolly good time, chanting the holy name for 8 hours, really absorbing the holy name, cleaning our hearts, cracking the heart nutshell of our hearts, and engaging in devotional service. There's so many opportunities for service tomorrow. So please do engage in service tomorrow and Sunday, and really hearing the holy name being chanted by each kirtaniya and absorbing it. It's so, so powerful. So if there are no questions and no comments, and again, Mother Geeta, I want to thank you for the question, because you really helped me it's a big reminder how much we are so fortunate that we have our spiritual master to give us the promise that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is opulent and he's there for us.
Well, I need to thank you for reminding me that I need to depend on the spiritual master. Thank you.
Thank you, Mother. Thank you so much. If there are no questions or comments, we thank you all for joining us. Vanchakalpatubhyascha, Kripasindhubevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.